Hello, sweet souls. This is DTO in the flow. And I want you to know that today I get to interview two extraordinary creative souls, and that is Prema Love and Ben Leinbach. And anyone that's watching and listening, this is a live streaming broadcast. So we absolutely encourage you to comment, ask a question. Of course, sharing is caring. We'd love that. And this is live streaming on a variety of platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And we'd love for you to comment on where you are located. This amazing planet that we get to reside on. And it's wonderful when we can understand where we're all at. I'm currently in Costa Rica, and Prema Love is in Hawaii, and Ben is in the States, I believe. He can share that later. And then if anything, if you don't feel like commenting anything thorough or anything with a lot of words, this is the emoji world. So feel free to just give us an emoji so we can see you out there and we can feel the love that you are here to share and receive today. Okay, so who we have today, first of all, I'm going to introduce who Prema Love is, and you can see the websites below if you want to reach out to them at any moment. And Prema Love is such a sweet soul, and she's an internationally touring and recording artist. She's multi-instrumentalist, and she is a vocal alchemist based in Maui, Hawaii. And she performed at the international locations, and then also Bhakti Shakti Fest, Bali Spirit Fest. And she's sung for spiritual teachers like Amma, the Hugging Saint, Ram Dass, three Divine Mother Saints of India. Currently recording her fourth album, which is one of the reasons why we get to talk about that project today, with a highly acclaimed Grammy-nominated producer, Ben Leinbach. And this will be released very soon, and I'll let them share when that date is coming. And Prema is inspired by the Divine Mother, and she's here to honor and uplift the Divine Feminine in all of us. The main instrument that she plays, of course, is her throat chakra, her voice, as well as the guitar, which she sings and plays with complete devotion to the divine. Prema also sings in different languages and plays many world instruments, and is always learning new ones to incorporate into her sound healing journeys to share with the world. May all beings unite in universal love and oneness. May all beings be happy and free. And Ben Leinbach, he has an amazing bio as well. And the words masterful, remarkable, and everything that Ben touches turns to gold has been used by a variety of periodicals and magazines and websites and reviews when looking and analyzing the beautiful music that he is creating. And yes, Ben is an award-winning producer, composer, recording engineer, and he aspires to create transcendent music that highlights a broad spectrum of the human experience: the beauty and the darkness, the love and the longing, the joy and the melancholy. It is Ben's hope that through exploring this emotional terrain, the listener will feel more deeply and live more fully. And he has an extensive catalog of productions, including working with Deva Premal and Mitten and Shiva Ray, Sadam Kar, Jai Uttal, including Jai's Grammy-nominated album, Mondo Rama. And a little side note, I actually collaborated with Jai Uttal, such an amazing soul. And as a recording engineer, Ben has worked with so many people. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can read all of these, but I'm sure you can. There's a variety of artists out there. E40, and then we also have Chico Freeman, Michael Manring, and then Green Day and Primus. Like, how cool is that, to be able to share stages with those amazing performers? And it shows like the diversity of how music is in the world. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to bring on both Prema Love and Ben Leinbach. How are you? Thanks for being here today.
Aloha. Thank you so much for having us, DTO.
You're so welcome.
Great to be here.
And let's just say your journeys are so impressive, and I just really enjoyed learning more about who you are and what you get to create in the world. And even in the backgrounds of where you're at, you see that there's instruments and love of music, and there's just this pure essence of what you're creating in this world. So I really appreciate you coming together and however you met. Well, actually, let's just start off like sharing, how did the both of you meet?
Well, I don't know if Ben remembers this, but I met you, Ben, at a rehearsal for Johanna Beekman at Bhakti Fest, and you were
Okay,
drunk. Yeah, and I was singing backup vocals for her. But it was really subtle. We didn't really meet very much at that point. And then later along the lines, I reached out to you, and that's when we connected.
yeah, in one of those dormitory rehearsal spaces in at Bhakti Fest, right? Where you take over a living room, you know.
Exactly. We had like a
People
15
still sleeping and camped out on the mattresses over there. Like, sorry, I know it's 9 a.m., but we need to rehearse because we're going on in an hour.
Yeah, great memories for sure.
Oh yeah, I miss that world too.
Yeah.
I always loved staying in those lodging facilities, and all of a sudden you'd have like full kirtan happening, and you're like, "Whoa, this is
Right.
blissful." Or I woke up one morning, and our dear brother, and I'm sure you know Will Marsh, was playing
Yeah.
sitars right outside the door, and I was like, "Ah, what a gorgeous moment to wake up to life!" And you have this, master sitar player right there. So that's wonderful. And yes, so let's kick it off with our first question. This is a 5Q interview, and anyone out there that's listening on this live stream, feel free to say hello, put in the comments any questions. And so a lot of people always love to ask this for musicians. And number one, here we go. Let's start with Prema Love. When did you begin your personal journey with music? How did it all start?
Well, for me, I come from a musical family, and my grandfather was the singer on I think it was in the 1960s. It was called the Lawrence Welk Show, and he was like on the Lucy Show, and he did all these different musical offerings. So I was always around music, and my dad's a singer as well. And so I just kind of was born into it. And like my first present for Christmas was one of those little tape recorders that have a little microphone. So I started singing like as a baby, and like by the time I was 5, I was totally rocking it and singing a bunch. And yeah, so it's been a multi-dimensional journey with the music for sure.
That's amazing. All right, Ben, same question.
Well, your grandfather was on the Lawrence Welk Show?
Yeah, he's one of the singers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm old enough where I think I saw a few reruns of that, on TV. I don't know if I saw your grandpa there, but yeah, that was always a funny show you'd be conducting.
Nice.
Let's see. I've just been really attracted to music kind of forever. I don't want to talk disparagingly about my parents. They're wonderful people, but I did grow up in a household where we weren't necessarily really emotionally, like it wasn't we were sort of we were emotionally repressed wasps, right? So we didn't really openly talk about emotions. So when I took in music, that really sort of opened up my emotional life, my emotional terrain. So it really was, there was a moment where when I heard Led Zeppelin, actually it was Led Zeppelin, I think that solidified the deal that I needed to do music. That there was something about the power of that music and how it made me feel. And I was like, oh my God, once I heard, Heartbreaker or Misty Mountain Hop or what have you, I was sort of like, ooh, yes, I can feel now, So I think it was that. It was the emotional, the ability to feel emotion at a deep level that really attracted me to music. And that happened at a very young age, maybe. I mean, even before I heard Led Zeppelin at 9 or 10 or something, I was attracted to music. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Zeppelin. I actually grew up doing some Van Halen and learning how to play the drums and learning how the power of music and performance is. So yeah, I love how you have that whole experience with emotions and self-expression through music. And I think that, you and I as men could probably say like, we weren't necessarily taught to be like fully
Right.
self-expressed and share what you're feeling and put your heart on your chest. It's more like you have to be really straightforward, suck it up,
Yeah.
do whatever you got to do to, I'm from the Midwest. I used to work the cornfield. So it's like, roll up your sleeves and get to work, So
Right.
it's really interesting and music, I feel, is that opening. It's almost like creates this new possibility, which is really powerful, I feel. All right. So let me do question 2 for you, Ben. We'll do a little ping pong. And so when did you first begin playing and what instrument was that?
I think I started off on piano. and quit piano, moved on to trumpet. My parents, my mother was, she kind of always, I think she had an unfulfilled life. As a, she was a drummer actually. So wait a second, I'm all confused here. So my parents, they wanted me to continue to study music, even if it wasn't a particular instrument. So when I bailed on piano, I got interested in trumpet. Once I bailed on trumpet, they were like, "Well, we really want you to continue to play. So how about drums?" And my, my mom, she grew up in it was in Connecticut, I believe, and she was not really, her parents weren't too happy with the fact that she wanted to play drums. It wasn't ladylike. So she actually would sneak away on some weekend days and take a train to the next town and secretly study drums. She did this for, I don't know how long she did this for, but this is a cool little story. So she's actually the one who got me into drumming, which ended up becoming my main instrument. And she's a great dancer, and she has a good sense of groove. My father was a musician as well. He played flute and piano. So I started young. I started around 8, but kind of moved through various instruments until landing on the drum kit at 11, and then I was sort of done. That was it for me. I love that. But also, like, growing up, when you're a drummer and you're in bands, the rehearsals are always at the drummer's house, because the kids are not old enough to drive and drive their instruments to and from their house. They would come over and they would leave their instruments in the jam room, which was at the drummer's house, which was at my house. My parents win awards for tolerance of this. There were years and years of rehearsals. So I had guitars and basses hanging around the jam room, all the time. So that was how I kind of just ended up sort of dabbling on a bunch of different instruments as well.
Right on. I love that. Yeah, my parents also had a lot of love and grace and patience because we would just crank it up and
Oh
play
yeah.
and play and play and uh, definitely feel that connection with you as well. So, yeah, you don't want to move the drums as often. It's easier to grab a guitar, bass, and the amps than a whole, disassemble, reassemble of a drum kit. That's great.
Right.
Awesome. All right, Prema Love, you're up. When did you first begin playing, and which instruments were those?
So I really feel like instruments call you, you know. And the instrument that first called me was the electric guitar. um, and so I was at the music store and I was really drawn to this bright red, and of course I'm in red today. This bright red and white electric guitar, and so I asked my dad to get it for me for Christmas, and I just loved it. So I was 15, and but I didn't get super into it or take it seriously at that point. It wasn't until I was 19 when I went through this big spiritual awakening that I started getting into world instruments and writing music and playing music, and that's a whole another story. But during that time, I had a basket that I would travel around with, and it had like a kalimba and shakers, and that's when the whole world music scene opened up for me, and I started expanding, exploring. And now I would say my main instrument is my voice. I love toning and doing sound healing. My second instrument would be guitar. And now, if you can see in the shot, I've been playing this beautiful hand pan that's on the new album. And I've been playing harmonium and shakers and like a medicine drum. So it's been really fun. I love mixing it up and playing lots of different instruments and exploring and always learning kind of new things. I think that's what it's about. That's how we grow and expand. And I'm a
Right
self-taught
on.
musician, so it's just in my blood. It's in my soul. It's in my lineage. And I learn from other musicians just sitting in, like we were talking about, jamming out at Bhakti Fest like we used to.
Yes.
Just listening, being present, and learning from life and observing. And I love learning that way.
And I love that about the Lawrence Welk show and that being a part of your lineage, and then being able to perform and be on stages and jam and connect. And I love that synergy. So, question 3 for you, Prema Love. What makes your music unique?
Hmm. Well, I would have to say what makes my music unique is really the grace of my spiritual teacher. I met her when I was 19, and that's kind of where that whole spiritual journey really unfolded for me. She came to me in a dream, and my teacher, her name is Alma. She's the hugging saint, and I think you can see her behind me in this shot. That's when my life truly transformed and truly started. Um, she blessed my music. Like every time I was recording an album, even this new album that Ben and I just finished, I would bring her samples along the way, and she would touch the albums and bless them. She's played most of my instruments and put her third eye on the instruments, and after my instruments would smell like roses. And she's just blessed my life in every way. And I just want to give thanks and bow down to the grace of the gurus and the teachers that guide us. And she really put me on my path doing what I do. So what's unique about it is that her essence, her divine love, the essence of the divine feminine and the divine mother is in my music, and the soul of the divine mother. And all the spiritual masters and teachers that I've meditated with and sat with, like Ram Dass and Karuna Mai and Anandi Maiman, all these different divine mothers and saints that I've sat with and spent sacred time with. So that's infused in the music. Jai Ma.
I lost you, DTO.
What makes your music unique? And based on the bio that I read, I know you have a whole different type of experience with different genres of music. And you can just share like what snapshot based on this current project, like what is the uniqueness of what you're creating?
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to pop music and got into jazz and was always into kind of soul and Motown, and then got into world music, meeting Jai Uttal and heading into this whole yoga kirtan path. So now it's all kind of a mixture of everything. You know, I love the fat sort of urban beats of some, you know, of rap music, of urban music, and the like a group like Massive Attack. But I'm also drawn to sort of the kind of deep, sort of intense, sort of longing, searching quality of a band like Radiohead. And I think what makes it unique is that I really got into sort of trying to create music that was demographically vague. So that means sort of like, you know, if you listen to a certain combination of instruments, you might actually pinpoint, oh, you know, you might actually think about it. Oh, West Africa, or Appalachia, India, you know, blues. You might think the Deep South of America or something. So through working with so many different world artists, I really got into sort of combining sounds in a way and trying to create a lot of my own sounds, so that things had a sort of ethereal and kind of unworldly quality, and it would sort of, you know, people would listen and kind of not know exactly how to identify what the instruments are or were. So I think that hopefully that adds a unique flavor to that. And I think just in general, like with Prema Love's album, is this sort of being in this world genre. I mean, it really everything's open, you know. I mean, we might have on one track like Into the Fire or Ganesh, we have Hung. We have there's one where we kind of went with a Middle Eastern flavored grooves, drum kit stuff. I mean, hand drums. But then on top of that, we have maybe more like a resonator guitar that hints more at a little bit exotic India, but also the West as well. Also the America, you know, the Appalachia flavored stuff. So it's just like kind of trying to find that little niche where it sort of creates a really universal sound, really, from combining so many different types of music from all over the world. And I hope it's not cultural appropriation, but I sure love all this music. I just love music of all kinds, and to try to bring it all together and to create a universal and unifying sound. I think is a worthy task, worthy endeavor. And hopefully we accomplished that on Prema Love's album. I think we did on several of the tracks. I feel like it has a really great, incredible, universal sound.
Well, this is the perfect moment to watch your teaser video clip that's going to take us on a quick visual and multi-sensory journey. So would you like to share with everyone watching what we're about to view?
Yeah, so part of my inspiration comes from my world travels. And last year I was in India at this goddess festival of women from all around the world, and I met a friend there that connected me with a friend that happens to be in Maui. It's a small world, right? And this community. And so we just kept running into each other. Her name's Audrey Phillips, and her company's called Nomadic Filmmaker. And she made this beautiful visual of the music that Ben and I just produced. And it's in Iao Valley here in Maui, where I live. And we just had such a mystical time creating it. Before we went in, we offered prayers to our ancestors. We asked for permission to go into the sacred site. And that the intention we set for this video was that this would reach all the people that it's meant to bring the healing of the earth and unity and harmony and oneness that we're talking about that's in this music.
Aho. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is the clip. Enjoy. Wow. So many yeses. That was really incredible. Wow. So great.
Mahalo.
Okay. So when we're looking at the visuals and we're hearing the music, we have this multi-sensory experience. I feel like the combination of all your backstories and everything just has arrived to this moment. So I really feel powerful when I hear the music. It's really uplifting and awaken love, and I really love the multi-harmonies and layers that you're putting into the production style. So it's really beautiful. And so here am I responding to such powerful inspirational music. Question number 4 is, how do people respond to your music?
Go ahead, Prema Love. You're the star of the show here.
Thank you. We're all the stars. How do people respond? I'm blown away every day. I mean, just yesterday, a friend of mine, we were out by the ocean watching the whales jump. It's whale season here in Maui. And we love to do that. We'll just go out and play music, sit on the earth. I stand up and I dance and I play my guitar, and she was dancing. And a dog came running up that was smiling, that was in bliss and ecstatic. Different people were coming around, and they were just like, thank you so much. Like, you're raising the vibration on the planet. And that just feels so amazing to just show up, not with any expectations, just show up and share the love and share the joy and the medicine. And I really feel that that's what this music does, the sacred music does. It raises the vibration, and it activates all our cells, and it helps us remember who we truly are and where we come from, and it unifies us.
Aho.
Beautiful.
For sure.
And Tiffany has some beautiful comments that she chimed in. She loves the music, says it's so awesome. And
Thanks, Tiffany. That was great. the path of doing music is kind of hard sometimes. You know, I mean, I got a couple kids and I got a house, and you know, it's like it can be challenging a little bit financially, to be honest. But then I get these emails or these messages from people who are just sort of like, they say incredible things, you know, like, you helped me through an incredibly dark period in my life. You kept me from hurting myself when I was incarcerated. Your music. Um, you get these messages like this, and then you're like, oh, okay. I guess I should continue to do what I do. So, you know, those are the moments where you realize, oh, okay, yeah, it is healing, it is helping people. And so those are the messages that I get now and again. And you know, thank you for just a lot of thank yous for spreading good vibes and all that. And so, and with Prema Love, I mean, when I heard Prema Love's voice, I just sort of blown away, you know, because it just has that quality, that X factor of that has the longing, you know, the longing to connect, the longing to heal, the longing to feel love, to connect with God, the longing for peace, love, redemption, whatever, you know, whatever we call out for when we need like some deep answers. And so just I was very attracted to Prema Love's voice, you know, and when she's in the studio and she starts playing her guitar, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then she starts singing, I'm like, oh, whoa, you know. So,
thank you so much, Ben.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. And I love that how, you know, the ripple effects of life and the three of us as creative souls and musicians and artists, that sometimes those ripples come back in the form of an email, or someone comes up to you after a class, or someone sends a message, and all the different ways we message each other and communicate. And some people, as I know the three of us have experienced, just have this look. They just see you and just bow and recognize and honor. And you're like, whoa, all the stresses of the world, the family, the mortgages, got to do this, got to do that. I'm adulting, and all of that can,
yeah.
in the grind of life, really get at us. And then when we recognize the beauty and the power and the healing moments that music can truly bring about, not only for us as we're channeling these frequencies and these messages, but then when it can really land and receive on the other side. And one of the powerful things for me, I'm a world language teacher, is I always teach people there's 4 steps of communication. I feel this applies to music. There's the sender, there's the message, there's the receiver, and then the feedback. And as that feedback loop happens, because we're all as senders and we're getting these messages. Famously, John Lennon said he didn't write one song, he allowed for the song to write itself. And so when we have that sender, we need to get this message out there because we're feeling it. It's in us. It's in our soul. And then when someone can truly receive it, and if they receive it and it integrates into their well-being, their life, and we never, ever know, then that's the magic and the mystery of the universe, right? And if people also connect with us, I feel it's really powerful. And so let's jump into question number 5 here. So tell us about this new album, Awaken to Divine. What was the intention around it? How many songs are on it? When can people get a hold of it, to listen to it, to stream it? And yeah, I know a lot of people out there that listen to all the example songs, and to hear you share about how you connected and what you're creating and co-creating together. So tell us about it.
I love what you shared, DTO. That really resonated a lot. And I feel the same way about albums or the music, that it chooses us, because this is our soul's mission and our dharma. And it was already kind of laid out, is what I feel. And it took a while for me to figure out the name of the album, because so many people told me, oh, you should do this and that, and there's so many voices. And I would ask for feedback sometimes, and ultimately it all comes back to us and what we feel. And this really resonated the most, because this was the original intention for this album, Awaken to Divine Love. It first came to me when I was meditating in Mount Shasta, when the song came through, Awaken to Divine Love, which was really the title track of this album. And the words are, may all beings be happy and free. May all beings awaken to their divinity. And this is a prayer that I pray every day. It's a mantra that I learned from my spiritual teacher, Amma. And in Sanskrit, it's Om Lokaha Samastaha Sapino Bhavantu. And there's so many messages on this album. There's a message of liberation for all beings. And there's a song called Into the Fire, which is about purification, purifying what no longer serves us. But when I came back to source and to center, it really came through that the message is awaken to divine love. And that's what all the teachers teach. All teachers throughout all history have taught the same thing. If you want to know who you are, if you want to know the divine, know who you are. And so that's what, when we all awaken to divine love on this planet, because divine love is our true essence and our true nature, then the world will know peace. And we're in such a powerful time on this planet right now. And I feel that we're all birthing a new earth. We're birthing a new earth through us, through showing up, through playing our divine part. And I really feel and know that music and sound healing is a huge part of it. Like Edgar Casey said, that the medicine of the future will be sound, sacred music, sound healing. And that's what we're all doing. That's us all together. So there's 11 tracks on the album. They're all like fully activated, and it's just been such a blessing and gift to work with them. And I learned so much. And yeah, it's just really magical. So thank you.
It's wonderful. So Ben, some details. When can people get a hold of the album? How can people support? I'm going to put your information on the screen. That's premalovemusic.com, benleinbachmusic.com, so people can reach out to you. So when can we first have a listen in the full, beautiful 11-song form?
Well, apparently March 1st, right, Prema Love? Although we need to talk about getting on the uploading because, sometimes it takes a couple days, but I think if soon. This is probably a conversation we'll have, not on the internet. But we should talk maybe later today about that. So I think we need to get going there so that it's available March 1st. People.
So March.
And March 1st is my birthday. That's why I wanted to release it on March 1st.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. Love that. Yeah, so you get the birth of the album, and for Prema Love, you said that's the fourth, right? Album for you?
March 1st. Oh, my fourth album, yeah.
Fourth album, March 1st, and it'll be your appearance day celebration.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm birthing myself, and I'm birthing the new earth, so it feels appropriate.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And we do have Tiffany saying some beautiful words here as we're live streaming. And it sounds like she's a big fan of your music, and I'm grateful that you're here. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the music, the ways that we were taught music and we learned it, we felt into it intuitively, and some of us may have been like into the music theory aspect of music. I think however we've arrived to where we are as musicians, it really is powerful when we can feel those vibrations within us. And then I love how the both of you have synergized, because that cosmic mathematical equation 1 + 1 = infinity, where the both of you together, as when Ben mentioned he first heard your voice, there's that X factor, there's this mystery of what's possible, and let's bring this in and that, and the alchemy of music. So I love how all of that is leading towards that connection to what people can feel within themselves. Oh, and our good friend Andrew Belinsky is here, and he says hello.
Hey, Andrew.
He's a very talented musician. He's played bass on a few of my projects. He's remixed some music as well. It's always great to see fellow musicians out there. Somehow we electromagnetically find each other. That's what's one of the mysteries of it all too. The other day I was like, I need a cellist, and the friend's like, oh, here's my friend cellist. I was like, okay, great, boom, got the cellist on this new project. So that's what's really powerful, and I'm sure that the both of you having such resource collectively, recording it all, working on the pre-production, production, post-production, and then of course your conversation you'll have offline around distribution. And so there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that not everyone out there, when they just push play on their favorite app, they don't always understand how many layers of the onion needs to be peeled back before the song actually gets released. And some people listen to the song in real time. They'll be like, oh, that was a great 4-minute song. I bet you they just played it in 4 minutes and it was done. It was like, yeah, times that by 1,000. Like all the, the communications, the messages, sometimes the traveling, the uploading, the downloading, and all of that is something that I feel is really wonderful. for anyone out there that's a musician, and that goes for anything. I'm sure you as a Ben as a father, you know this. Like, it's not like now they're graduating in high school and they're off in the world, and that was easy. It was like, oh, how about all the breakdowns, the conversations, the takes a village community, and I feel like that's the kind of love that 11 song album. And I like this day and age where we're such a instant gratification, society. Some people are like, for me, I want to tip my hat to you for the fact that you did a whole 11 song album, because it's such a singles one song remix kind of world right now. So I know that the love and I know that we all fell in love with an album growing up, where like a Pink Floyd experience, where you start from track one, you go to the end, and it's a whole journey.
Right.
So,
Wow.
so tell us about that with the album. I'm sure you chose consciously the order of the songs, and all of that is going to have its own themes and messages when it comes to the experience of Awaken to Divine Love.
Yeah, it's really a journey. It's a whole journey. It's the spiritual journey. Like there's a song for the water, a water blessing, co-created with Blue Bottle Love, and the song that was inspired by Ram Dass. It really takes you on a journey, and it is a wild time to release an album of 11 songs, but I've always lived my life by divine guidance, and I do what I'm guided to do. And so this feels really right, and it feels really right to release this right now, and it's truly medicine. So I'm really excited to get this out into the world, and thank you for bringing that up, DTO, because there are so many behind the scenes things that people don't realize. They just like play, oh, here's the song, and that's it. But it's a whole journey. It's a spiritual process. And I've been in this one for over 2 years. That's when Ben and I started the album.
Wow.
Yeah.
About those
I'm ready to give
years.
birth. It is like feeling like I'm pregnant and I'm going to give birth. And so I've been holding space, energetic space for this to be birthed for over 2 years. And part of that, I couldn't travel because of COVID. And then I didn't want to travel for a little bit because I felt like I was in the womb of Mother Maui. As soon as things opened up for me to travel, I was on a plane.
Oh, it's beautiful. We have some amazing compliments here. Divine, lovely from Divinity Lucy. We have James that mentioned J Ma, happy to be here learning. So yeah, so for all of our conversations about the behind the scenes of what it takes, I think people actually enjoy listening to that. Is that authenticity? It's we're our own reality show as we're live streaming in this moment of talking about the behind the scenes. And I feel that when we also understand that there's that nectar that gets to be enjoyed once it's out and being heard and listened to, and those vibrations, and how powerful that it's going to be launched on your birthday, and it's going to be in this time of 2021 in this timeless space, especially since your themes are working with the elements in water and having this journey that people can go on. I feel that that's the wonderful part of the production style that I already have listened to. Like, wow, this music, whether it's 10 years from now, 20 years, 30 years, vibrating, that's really powerful. So I honor those 24 months that you spent behind the scenes, and it's really amazing. So any closing words you'd like to share with anyone out there? And I'm going to make sure I have your information right on the screen here. So if anyone wants to go to PremaLoveMusic.com or BenLeinbachMusic.com, you can follow them on socials, perhaps sign up for a newsletter, and figure out the way that you can deeply connect, and any invitations you have for anyone that's listening right now.
Well, this is Roots Music, so I wear all the hats. I'm my own manager. I perform. I do it all. Really, Divine is doing it for me, so I'm still asking for more support because I'm in the process of making eco-friendly shirts and tanks and USB download cards. So if you pre-order, then that helps this all happen as soon as possible. So you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or through my website, and I really appreciate any support, any donations that want to come in. What else? I just want to give thanks to DTO. Thank you so much. We met a couple years ago at Bhakti Fest, and we just had a great time performing together. And I trust in the divine timing of all of this, that this was the right time for us to finally come on live here. And it's like such a high blessing to have Ben Leinbach on here. And I'm just so grateful to you, Ben. I had such an amazing time, and I learned so much from you in the studio. And we really co-created some really mystical music, and it's just so fun, and I'm excited for much more.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You know, actually, you know, I have to give props to Prema Love, because we had already done 7 songs, and it was pretty much, it felt like a pretty complete album. It was, I don't know, almost 50 minutes of music maybe. And then she calls me up and she's like, I got another 4 songs. I'm like, wow, really? she just really had to do this. She had 4 songs that she really wanted to add to the album, and she flew over here when it was safe, and we just locked down for a month, and we finished the 4 songs and the other 7. And yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that she pushed for that, because, you know, there were the Be Here Now one, the Ganesh, the Into the Fire, and a nice Shavasana closer, a Hum Prema. And she brought her hung, so it added a whole new flavor, and it really created even a more powerful album with more variety. So yeah, so thanks for doing that. Yeah, I mean, closing words, you know, I mean, I'm just happy to be doing what I do, you know. I'm just thankful that people are continuing to create music and are continuing to wanting to work with a producer, and not completely doing it all by themselves on their laptops. So it's actually a great time for collaboration right now with, you know, I have clients, especially since COVID, who got their home studio situations kind of up and running so that they could track their vocals and their guitar parts. But, you know, it's and then they send me those parts, and I'll add production and mix and master and all that. So it's a pretty creative time right now, actually. There's a whole lot of creating going on, and I'm very thankful just that there's enough crazy artists out there who want to record and want to bring beauty and want to bring love and peace and good vibes and healing vibes to the world. And I'm thankful that they you know, they choose to work with me. So thank you, Prema Love.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, DTO.
Thank you, DTO. And thank you, everyone.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate your love and support. We feel you.
Thank you again for being here, Prema and Ben. Everyone out there, make sure you go to the websites you see listed. If you have any questions at all, feel free to message them on their contact forms on their websites or their Instagram. And as you've heard today, like, we love when we hear the feedback and we get to hear like how you're receiving the music and the vibration. So make sure that you go out there and go directly to the website, and Awaken to Divine Love will be out in March. Thanks again, Ben and Prema, for being here. Many blessings.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Aloha.
Aloha, mahalo.